in my time here on Earth that some things just aren't for everyone. You might not be interested in going on roller coasters, or you might not be as into scary movies, and it's okay for people to like their own certain things. Not everyone has to like the same thing. That's part of being human. A little more specifically, I've learned that adult animation just really isn't for me. This falls under the category of like Family Guy and Simpsons and Robot Chicken. The humor doesn't quite do it for me, where it's a lot of sight gag humor, or very obvious jabs at either pop culture trends or people or events, those kinds of things. Just doesn't do it for me. What does do it for me is good storytelling. And of course, the best storytellers on the planet, in my mind, are Marvel Studios and everything that they've done up to this point. But that's just obviously one major example. So with the show like Modok, which is not Marvel Studios, it's the now defunct Marvel Television, which has absorbed into Marvel Studios. This is a show that started off in the same vein as most meta humor cartoons, if you will. The show starts off by rooting for the dummy, if you will, the guy that is just, meant to fail at every given turn. I'm personally not a big fan of those kinds of stories. Like when I watch Animaniacs and we get to usually Pinky and the Brain segments, or even Pinky and the Brain's TV show as a whole, I wanted Pinky and the Brain to succeed, and they just don't. That's the whole point of the show, obviously. So it's not that I don't get the joke, but I enjoy those characters so much. I want to see them succeed, and for them to just continually fall on their face, it discourages me from continually watching, because I want to see them eventually take over the world, and they don't get to. And that's kind of the same with Modok here, except that he just can't get out of his own way. He causes his own problems. But by the end of the Modok series that premiered on Hulu just a little over a month ago from this recording, it ended with the title character having something to fight for by fighting himself previously, and also his old habits, and he sees that in his younger form, if you will. And I think that was great. With Modok in particular, I honestly was very discouraged from the first 5 episodes in, thinking, boy, do I really have to finish this to talk about it on Knights of the Dirty Table? And then the second half of the episodes, I was actually blown away, because there was clear direction with where they wanted to go with their character, to almost this point of hopelessness at the end of the series that you almost don't see coming. You almost kind of keep thinking that Modok is going to make the right decision, is going to do right by his family, is going to save them from their imminent doom. And then he actually doesn't. He does what Modok is supposed to do and be the titular villain that he's meant to be. But he realizes that that was actually a mistake, and now he's fighting to get his family back at all cost, and that's where we're at in the point of the story. And it makes me really wish that we're getting a season 2. As of this recording, I'm not exactly sure if we're getting a season 2. But based on what I saw, I hope that we do, because I was incredibly blown away by it. These Hulu Marvel projects, these animated claymation Hulu Marvel projects, were always going to be a gamble right from the start. Most Marvel TV unit-specific shows are. That's kind of just their brand as a whole. And of course, we've talked about previously Marvel Television and all the projects that they've done either for ABC or Freeform or Hulu, or especially Netflix. And a lot of them have worked, but some of them have been obvious misses. This is a hit. This is not a miss at all, just to be clear. If I hadn't mentioned it before, the Marvel Hulu Claymation series done by the creators of Robot Chicken, including Seth Green and such and company, this show, along with Hit Monkey, Tigra, and Dazzler as one show, and then Howard the Duck, were all going to be separate shows, 4 separate shows that would eventually combine into a crossover series called The Offenders. Kind of tongue-in-cheek to the Defenders. That was the original plan. So basically, this was Hulu's response to what Marvel had previously created with Netflix. But when Marvel TV got swallowed up, only Modok and Hitmonkey still remain. Hitmonkey is still on the slate. Hitmonkey will still be coming out. Those shows survived, but that's because they were already deep enough into production where there was no point in canceling them. Everything else has been left by the wayside. A little disappointed that we didn't get Howard the Duck, but whatever. And there's clearly an audience for this kind of humor. It feels like it was all dropped on Hulu, Modok's one season. It was dropped all at the same time, kind of as a death sentence in the way, as opposed to releasing episodes weekly. And I know some shows on Netflix have kind of gone into different ways. Either they drop weekly or in separate parts and such, or they'll just drop everything at the same time. But with this, it just felt like we're going to get rid of it because it's done. And it feels like, as of this recording, that there's no plans for the future, and there never were, based on just dumping it all at once on Hulu when it released. I hope that that's not the case. The creators certainly want to do a second season, and quite frankly, any show wants more time to tell their story and also so they can be employed. And I'm not sure if they'll get that opportunity to continue what actually became a really captivating story for a character that's just so silly to look at. And I hope I'm proved wrong in this, because they definitely deserve a second season. This review isn't really meant to go too much in depth or in detail, because Modok truly isn't meant to be that much of a character that quantitates depth. But I was really surprised that this was not completely the typical adult animation that I don't necessarily go for, with the sight gags and obvious humor that I mentioned before. And there's definitely plenty of gore for gore's sake in this show. And maybe I question some animators' psyches if that's something that they are inspired to animate, but I am not necessarily trying to be one to judge. But at the heart of this show is Modok and his family, and what happens when you truly lose them with no true hope of getting them back by season's end. And I hope that story continues. Certainly, if you see this, feel free to maybe share this around to maybe help inspire others to push for a Modok second season if it hasn't already been done as of this recording. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this little conversation that I basically had with myself. Make sure you tune into Nights at the Dirty Table every Friday live at 5 on the Zendan Studios Twitch channel.
Whoa! Welcome to the end of the Knights of the Dirty Table video that you just watched. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already done so, make sure you subscribe to our channel, like our video, share with all your friends, and catch our live stream every Friday live at 5 only on the Zendan Studios Twitch channel. I gotta go wander off into space. See ya! Whoa! Whoa!